Hello everyone, I'm Selfie and I'm building a universe. This will be about the process of building an ecosystem. This is also being done with the intent of being a draw with me. So if you are an artist, I invite you to get that sketchbook out and draw with me while I world build. So the way I begin world building an ecosystem is by investigating similar environments to what I'm imagining and just seeing what kind of animal lives there. In this case, because it is a mountain range in the middle of a kind of large landmass, so it will probably be drier than the climates at the bottom, which are very humid, but more humid than a desert at the top. So pretty much like a cold steppe, I think, with some variation, um, especially around rivers and lakes, and on the left side, because it will be closer to the coast, so more humid. But I'll mainly be talking about the terrestrial animals in the area around the biggest mountain. So it will be mostly dry, with some vegetation. You can see me now making a food web with some of the species that inhabit this area. I start from the producers, grass, shrubs, trees and others, and then build the herbivores on top of that, thinking about what animals would eat which kind of plant, and then I make the predators, while thinking about how they can hunt their prey. This also depends on how abundant each source is. Since grass is plentiful in areas that have some humidity and no trees, I can make several species depend on it, while only having one species depend on one scarce resource. This is an oversimplification, as you also have to figure out how accessible it is and how difficult it is to digest. The less accessible and digestible something is, the more a creature needs to specialize in order to eat, making that creature less likely to be able to eat anything else. So, for example, this monkey has to eat fruit to survive, but it has to eat from many sources since they are not common enough. Though the monkey can also eat some parts of the leaf, though it would probably lead to stomachache. Meanwhile, grass can supply various species since there is more of it. This principle also extends to predators, but most of them will eat multiple species even if they are plentiful, because meat is very similar between species and it is harder to catch than grass or fruit. So, in this climate, I'll base the grass-eating animals on goats, which are known to be mountain animals and grass eaters, and I'll divide them into two kinds of goats to have some variety. And big felines are known to hunt big herbivores, and there are felines in high altitude environments, like the mountain lion or the snow leopard, so it is a good predator to put in an environment like this. This might seem very stereotypical, and they are, but adding familiar elements to a setting helps people understand how it works without having to explain it, and that allows the wackier stuff to stand out. Wacky stuff like this bird, which which is one of the animals that I'll talk about now. So this is an idea I have had for a very long time. This is a good moment to say that I'm not designing any of these animals, just drawing them as I imagine them and hoping for the best. So, so this bird is called by the native people as farbringers, far with an A, and is able to hunt to hunt big herbivores like the big cat, fulfilling a similar niche to the big cat that we saw before. Though instead of trying to kill them directly with its talons or its beak, this bird just grabs and grapples them into the air to let them fall into the ground. Some eagles do this in real life. The the Fallbringer birds, I did not think too much about that about about that name's pronunciation. So the Fallbringer birds can also use magic. Every animal in here can use some amount of magic. They have sharp claws made to draw blood from the goat or other animals that they hunt. They don't hunt only goats, they are just example here. They then use this blood to locate the corpse in the goat through a kind of divination magic, so it's easy to find. They can also use this blood. They can also use this blood in order to find an animal that escaped them. But the blood only lasts a few days before it it rots, the blood only lasts a few days before it rots and becomes useless. So because of this, they will follow you for a few days if they get to hurt you, but they won't follow you after that, though they might try frequently to hunt you down. But because of this, because because it can follow their prey, it is seen as an ill omen to see a Fallbringer bird, sort of like seeing vultures or a crow. So the inspiration for this design was a combination of the Pokemon Murkrow and the explanation of the mermaid myth that basically says they were only dugongs being mistaken for ladies by sailors. I haven't really seen any source on this to confirm that is true. I don't think it can be confirmed to be true. So it's just a theory, a myth theory. Okay. But I imagine that bird. But I imagine that a bird that could be mistaken for a human would be very creepy. So I made the design. Oh, and for the actual anatomy of this bird, I use real life animals, of course, mainly the Andean condor, which gave the basic color scheme, and the secretary bird, which has a very similar body shape. The talons were drawn by referencing a harpy eagle's talons, and yeah, the people of the area probably has some other myth related to this animal, like witches or warlocks living in the mountain and being able to fly, or just a sort of harpy creature filling the role of boogeyman to scare children from going too far from the camp. Now, because of the way this bird hunts, the goat species has basically divided into two, for two different survival strategies. The first species has shortened their horns to not give the fallbringers an easy handle and being able to shed hair to loosen the grips when they grab their body. And they also travel in small groups because, hey, if they catch the one in your side, it means they don't catch you. These are not always effective, but they don't have to be. The predators need to eat as much as the prey needs to survive. In this case, they use it to be able to hop. They use magic to be able to hop in midair, kind of like a double jump in video games. But this is a serious commitment as they use a large amount of energy in every single midair jump, and if the goat hasn't eaten or rested properly, it will probably fail and they will fall. Even if it is well fed and rested, a goat will not be able to jump over 9 times. This is the most it has been seen before it falls due to exhaustion. This goat species is also domesticated by the people who live in this region, and their name for this kind of goats is air stepper. Now, the second species' strategy is is to strengthen the neck and legs to make it more difficult to actually grapple and pull them towards the fowl. Basically, they can give a better fight to the bird. And besides this, their horn is far longer than the ones of air steppers, so they can be used as a weapon against the bird. This weapon is not a very effective one, but the Farbringer bird is still fragile enough for it to be a deterrent. Besides this, the strengthened legs make them able to have better control and longer jumps, being able to use it to travel for up to 100 meters or 330 feet in the air using 9 air jumps. Though with the same exhaustion as the other goat species, they mostly use this to try and escape, not to travel, unless they find a gap that they can fill with one or two hops, I guess. Because of this, they are called sky runners by the people. And well, my inspiration for this design was drawing it similar to the Kirin, and that is why it has curlier hair and longer hair in certain places. Also, because it looks cool to me, means make most animals look cooler. Um, but this was more of an inspiration than anything else. Since there is magic in this world, I find it logical that animals have magic in them. So I'll take inspiration for from both myths and real animals. And speaking of real animals, the air stepper go, I wanted it to look to make it look more docile and less imposing, to show that it is an animal that can be and has been domesticated by humans. And so not only goats, but I also looked at sheep, just not nearly as much, to show that. And I tried to give it a more gentle silhouette. Meanwhile, the Skyrunner goat's real-life inspiration is the markhor, specifically from the Himalayas, just to make it look a little bit more threatening and like it couldn't be tamed, because um, that is a wild animal, and it should be like very clear between looking at one and the other that they are related, but they are not the same species. Oh, and also to give it a little bit of mystique to the animal. Also, like the current flies by stepping in the air, so that's neat. So these are just three of the numerous species in the mountain range, and the others might get fleshed out with time, but it probably will only be as a post in Reddit in r/worldbuilding and not in a video. Or maybe in a video, if this gains enough traction or likes. So, yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope this has helped you in some way. Bye bye. Have a great day.